Welcome back to Rad City Resin, where you get a new UV resin tutorial every week. Last week, I placed an order from the craft store Michaels. I had some craft reward points to use up, so I thought it would be fun to show you what I got and how I plan to use it. And it wouldn't be Tuesday without another tutorial, so stick around for that too. If you're new to the city that is rad, go click subscribe so you never miss a video. I'm sorry for how cheesy that was. Of course, I had to pick up this polyester glitter by Recollections. These colors are so Rad City, I absolutely had to have them. There are other colors that are also in this line that I may end up going back for, but you know your girl has to wait for a sale or a coupon. I just think there are so many cool effects that you can get with these iridescent glitters, but I'll get back to that a little later. I bought these hexagon connectors because I thought they'd be really cute with like maybe a bee theme. I don't quite know what I'm going to do with them just yet, but I thought they were really pretty, so I decided to buy one in each color tone. So I have, a gold tone and a silver tone, but I haven't decided what I'm going to do with them yet, so when I do, you'll be the first to know. Next up is this silicone pad. This is actually made to sit under hot glue tools to catch drips, but it will definitely work for resin too. It's nice and shiny, so if I use it to make any open bezel pieces, they won't have any weird patterns or indentions or matte finishes that I have to smooth out afterward. I got this other silicone pad because I thought it was going to actually be a lot bigger. I believe this thing is typically used for those like crystal rhinestone crafts, like those paint by crystal things that you see, judging by the measurements on the side here. But either way, you can never have enough silicone pads, so I might just dedicate this one to be used with alcohol ink, since they usually stain all of the other silicone pads that I have. I tend to use whatever paintbrush I can reach when I need to smooth my resin pieces, which has resulted in quite a few ruined brushes over the years. This will be super helpful in getting those precise applications while also not ruining any more bristles. This tray is typically used when you're coating something in glitter. You can set your item on this tray, coat it with an adhesive, and then sprinkle your glitter, and then all of the excess falls into the bottom of the tray. And then you use the little funnel on the side to pour the excess glitter back into the jar. I'm more so planning to use it when coating things in resin or doming, because sometimes you get spillage, and what I plan to do is put a silicone pad in the bottom. Then once that's cured, I can take it out and peel it off the pad. I'll show you what I mean in the project I'm doing next. If you have a Michaels in your area, definitely go check them out. And make sure you sign up for the reward program. It's free to be a member, but you get 6% back on all of your purchases as long as you remember to either scan your app or put in your phone number. This isn't a sponsored video or anything. I just think they're really great and I go there a lot, so I end up racking up reward points. So, get that money back if you can. All right, that's enough of that. Let's go make some magic. I'm going to use these round oval connectors as open back bezels. I'm going to lay them on my new transparent silicone pad, and then I'll use a thin amount of resin in each frame to create a transparent layer. I'm going to use a silicone paintbrush to make sure my resin touches the entire outer rim of the frame. Sometimes, especially when you're using a very shiny silicone surface, the resin will try to pull away and settle in the middle of the frame. When this happens, I just cure it, then put on another layer on top of that so that everything becomes one cohesive, thin layer. I'll make sure all of my layers are nice and thin so I can build up when I put in my inclusions. Next, I'm going to put a little drop of resin into each frame and then take this Baltic Day chameleon powder and swirl that into the layer. This actually turned out really pretty, and one day I actually might remake this project and stop right here because I really loved how this looks. I'm going to lay them down on a long strip of tape to keep them from wiggling around when I set them on the grate of this glitter tray. I'll put down a thin layer of resin, then sprinkle my purple iridescent glitter all over the frames. I'll use one of the silicone brushes to kind of put it around and fully coat the pieces. I'll do a quick cure to make sure all of that is set. I'm going to take them off and then use that tray to put as much of the glitter back into the jars as possible. This glitter had some like weird cellophane strips in it that seemed to want to fly everywhere, but this would work a lot better with your traditional glitter. Next, I'll pull each one of my cabochons off of the tape, then set it on this black pad. I only did this because I really wanted to see what the black backing would make the glitter look like, and can I say, this is gorgeous. Any silicone pad will do for this part, so there's nothing special about this one. I'm using my embroidery scissors to cut off any excess resin that may have spilled over the edges, especially because this glitter kind of did not settle all in the middle of the frame. It kind of migrated outward. But this is one of the reasons why I'm using very thin layers and curing between each one, because it makes cleanup very easy. If this was a lot thicker, I wouldn't be able to get through it using scissors. I would actually have to break out my sander and go to town with it. You could also use a deburring tool here, but I don't actually have one yet, so maybe that'll be in my next Michaels haul. Okay, I laid them all down on yet another silicone pad. Now, this is kind of like when you're cooking and you end up using every single dish in the house to make one meal. Please let me know in the comments if you're guilty of that, or am I the only person that does that? Now, I'm gonna put 2 holes into each of my cabochons so that I can connect them together. You could do this with a hand drill, but I learned my lesson during my fidget spinner tutorial, and instead, I'm gonna use this rotary tool. This is one of the inexpensive ones I bought from a local hardware store. If you're in the US, you can go to Harbor Freight and find these for like 20 bucks or less. You can find these in all different price points for every budget, but I'll put a few examples from Amazon into the description. I'm using a very small drill bit for this part because I want to make sure that the holes are big enough to fit a jump ring, but I also don't want them too big because I want to maintain as much of that pretty cabochon as possible. Make sure, if you're doing this, that you wear gloves and your eyes and your mouth are covered. This will make kind of a mess. I put a hole at each end of my cabochons and then made sure they were drilled from both sides to make sure that each of the holes is consistent. Now, I needed some jump rings, but I didn't have any in the exact size and strength that I wanted, so I ended up making my own. This is a super easy process. Just take some 18 gauge crafting wire. You could go lower, but it makes it a little bit harder. And a round tool. So this is a dotting tool, but a pen or pencil would work just as well. Just whatever you want that diameter to be, grab something that you can wrap the wire around. So I'm going to cut off a piece of wire, then wrap it around in tight coils around the length of the tool until I have this little spring. Now I'll pull the spring off the tool and take my flush cutters and cut each one right where the end of the wire is. This will create perfect circles. I love making my own jump rings this way because I can always be sure that they match the piece that I'm making. So if I have a certain color bezel, or if I'm making a bezel out of craft wire, then I can make sure that they match and I don't have to worry about like having my clasp be a different color than the rest of the project. Now that I have my jump rings, I'm going to loop one into one of the holes at the end of the cabochon, then another at the other end. Before I close it, I'm going to take another cabochon and loop it onto that same ring. And then I'll repeat this over and over until I have them all connected. If I had this planned out better, I would have made enough of these cabochons to wrap around my entire wrist, but I didn't, so instead I added a little bit of jewelry chain to the end of one side and a lobster clasp on the other so that I could connect them together. And there we go. I love, love, love the colors of this bracelet. It kind of reminds me of the flash of an opal. It's super pretty in the sunshine, and I feel like with how easy it is to make, I could literally make one for every outfit that I own, or, you know, different colors for different seasons. You could also even just use little dried flowers in it. That would be so cute. Of course, you can use this technique to make pretty much all types of jewelry. I think I might even make a pair of matching earrings to go along with this bracelet. If you try this project, I'd love to see what you make, So find me on Instagram or TikTok and show me what you create. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. That really helps the channel out. If you're looking for even more jewelry ideas, check out this video.